It's 1992 all over again, people. Here we go. almostagreement at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com, where there, check out all the cool happening shiz that's on there, which really isn't much right now. Other than great contact, you can shoot us an email through there. That's always fun. Go to your favorite podcast provider. We're available on all of those things. Like, friend, share, follow, text us to your friends. Do what you can do to support the show. We have the official lineup for City Races 2025 in the city of Knoxville, and I will start addressing those forthwith. Again, we're almost in agreement. Podcasts, social media, all that kind of crap. Do what you can when we're going to keep doing shows and do what we do. And we're going to get rocking and rolling, and I'll explain what I mean by 1992 here in just a second. We'll see if Sam gets it. I don't know. Hi, buddy.
Hey.
How you do?
Happy.
So watching the exciting protest in Market Square right now on the WATV Market Square live cam, whatever the crap that they have down there. You always reference all the cameras that are around town that I'm allowed to watch, so I don't need KPD's version.
But they're supposed to be going on tomorrow.
No, they're tonight. 7 o'clock they started, and I don't know if they're marching around. I've seen a few different clips from my Backroom Knox Guys Facebook page. They looks like they definitely made it over to the federal building at some point. Going back and forth, I guess, between the federal building and Market Square through the side streets. What did that sign say? Something about fuck off? We got a...
Someone looked like the biggest part of it was y'all.
No, I just kind of, I don't know. What do you think it is? A couple hundred people?
Yeah, probably.
It's not a bad turnout. Got one Mexican flag. Apparently, the Democratic Socialists of Knoxville is one of the organizers of it, as well as Indivisible. Y'all means all. That's what that one said. Yeah, there's a Handmaid's Tale costume. I don't know. Is that? Yeah. Anyway, so. Anyway, do you know what the reference to 1992 is?
Sure.
It's not. Do you know what it is?
I know.
In 1992 was the Rodney King beating and the subsequent L.A. riots, which are happening again. Although, from all accounts of anybody that's actually being honest about it, there ain't shit close to. This ain't close to the 92 riots at all.
Right.
That was the last time in U.S. history that that active duty standard branches armed forces were deployed inside the United States.
Yeah, I think the Marines were sent in that time as well.
Yeah, which I heard a great story from, it was Ryan on Breaking Points was talking about a story that he'd read from, Ryan's probably our age, maybe a couple years older than us. So he was 15, 17 at the time or whatever, but he was recalling a Wall Street Journal story or something at the time where so National Guard and or the Marines have no arresting powers in this situation. They're literally there to back up the local law enforcement and so LAPD SWAT was out to execute a warrant on a guy that they had evidence that was one of the major looters in some neighborhood or whatever. And so the LAPD SWAT team shows up at the house with a squad or whatever, specifically of the Marines that were attached to them to help deal with the situation or whatever. And the LAPD says to the Marines guys, like, we're going to this house, cover us. So as soon as they count down and kick the door in and say, go, 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 the Marines just light the house up. Because when you tell a Marine, cover me, that means shoot at some shit so the people that are on the other side duck so they can't shoot at me. Where a police officer says, cover me, that means watch, pay attention, get on the comms, do that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Like covering fire in a military
aspect. I think that would be like lay down covering fire or lay down suppressing fire or something like that. Never heard that used.
I mean, I don't know. You always see it in the movies where the dude's like, there's two dudes standing behind the poles or whatever, like leaning up against the pole, and guy yells at the dude, says, cover me, and that dude swings around the corner and starts shooting, and then the other guy runs.
I guess I always took it as like literally cover me. Like if you start seeing shooting, then start shooting back at them, and hopefully that'll make the other person duck.
We could reach out to some of our armed forces friends, but that's what it literally happened in '92 when the Marines were assisting LAPD back then. And there's no, again, this.
I would think the general rule would still apply. Like you can't, like armed forces can't fire unless they're fired upon. But yeah, I don't know.
And again, it's one of those. It's a chain of command issue. It's like who's in charge in that situation? Because if you're assisting somebody else, it stands to reason that they get to be in charge. And so you do what they tell you to do. And
Like, all right, well, they said cover.
They said cover them, so we covered them with many rounds of ammunitions. All right, well, now it's pouring buckets in Market Square, and whatever was left of that protest is probably dissipated at this point. But the protest downtown here, which is the same as the one that's have popped off into some rioting and looting and stuff in LA, but nothing crazy. Not that any, I don't know how do you quantify this in conversation to not be condoning rioting and looting, but give it some context in comparison to other riots and looting events that have happened, which are not nearly as severe. How would you word that?
How would I describe it?
I'm just saying, this is the same. It's the same nationwide protest that's going on that the LA one had devolved into a little bit of looting and rioting, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase that.
It's something like the ones tomorrow are the I think they're calling it like No Kings protest or something, which is separate than.
Thanks, baby. I love you.
I think it's supposed to be slightly separate. I think kind of in the same line of I guess they see it as abuse of executive power of. Because some of the decisions have been made, but I think some of it's also in protest, I guess, of the
mass deportations and ICE services and all that stuff. That's what I thought most of it was about in LA right now.
I thought some of the No Kings, they were doing it on the same day as the parade they're doing in D.C. Which is why I thought they picked Saturday.
Which is not a parade for President Trump's birthday, everybody. It's a parade for the 201st birthday of the United States Army.
It was like 250th or something, yeah.
Whatever, yeah. 250, yeah, you're right. 250 or 251 or 249, I don't know. It happens to be the same day. Next year, July 4th is kind of a important one, I guess. It's a little bit different next year, since next year will be the 250th birthday of the United States of America.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one to have a parade for.
Do we celebrate the birthday of the other armed forces?
I know, I always see and forward many crayon cake emojis to my Marine friends on Marine Corps on the Marine's birthday.
I'm trying to remember. I heard some other kind of slight against some Army to Marine joke the other day. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so with this level and stuff, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if at Paris Island or one of the major Marine training areas they might do a big shindig. Everybody gets a small piece of cake
that looks like a crayon.
Extra dessert for everybody.
That gets that's shaped like a crayon.
Yeah. I've pointed out a couple times. I think we've talked about it before at some of the previous kind of protests that have gotten out of hand, and then much akin to a city that wins some kind of championship, like you have near the same level of destruction.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm sure when the Dodgers won the World Series.
Hey, we won. Let's start tear down some light poles.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's always some cars burned.
I'm sure when the Dodgers won the World Series a little bit ago. Actually, I think somebody made that joke, and that the Dodgers World Series celebration was more damaging than this thing has been so far this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's interesting. I was I don't know. I was curious to follow what was going on with this thing tonight because it was made out like it was going to be kind of a big deal. And I'm not saying it's not a big deal. We can listen to some of it if you want. Whoa.
You're probably not going to hear much.
Somebody speaking Spanish? Yeah, so, I don't know. That's the one. I don't remember who. I've met this guy that does backroom knocks.
That makes me happy. I never understood that. I don't get it. I'm happy about that American flag. So yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty good turnout. It's not even 7 o'clock yet.
Yeah. He's funny. Like I said, I've talked to him a couple times. He's funny, and I keep inviting him on the show because he's like he and I converge and diverge very drastically on a number of issues.
Yeah.
And so it might be a really fun conversation or it might be a really bad conversation. Just kind of depends on what kind of topic we roll into. So local news. The city on first reading has passed the ordinance has passed the resolution to put the question of sales tax increase on the ballot. That'll go again next month. And it was a 7-1 to 0, or to 1.
1-1.
SEMA abstained.
Did see those numbers come out.
Which means that it'll come back again next time and be an 8-1 because Amelia doesn't vote for anything that everybody else votes for. So there's always a 1. And I appreciate Amelia for that as much as I disagree with her about almost everything. I understand it from some of this, having talked to and regularly talking to a number of city councilors. I can understand the frustration. And this goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. We closed the show on this topic because I thought it was interesting. Is the idea of call to final question or whatever what was it called?
Call the previous question.
Yeah. Which is basically saying, listen, because of the rules that we have as city councilors in this case, or legislators in the state, or whatever it is, especially for city council because the sunshine law is here, we're not allowed to talk about stuff outside of this room unless we have it publicly done and all that kind of pomp and circumstance bullshit that they have to do to talk about stuff. And so, on one hand, it's we got to respect the idea that you want to talk about this, Amelia, and you disagree with it, and you want to make your point heard. But there's also 9 of us in the room. 7 or 8 of us already agree that this is going to pass. You can state your objections till the cows come home. It's not going to change the vote. So, excuse me, Amelia, I want to interrupt. I would like to call the previous question. Let's get this vote over with and move on with our day. I kind of get it. Now, city council doesn't have that option.
I see the functionality of it. I just think sometimes I've seen it. It looks like it's been abused.
Sure.
Where they'll talk about something for 3 minutes.
Right, especially with the fucking state legislator, the committee stuff. They don't state house committees are verbal votes unless required otherwise. And so it's a committee of 9 or whatever in the room. Called a previous question, opposed aye, or all opposed yay.
Yeah, it's like in the eyes of the chair.
Nay. Right.
The ayes have it or the nays have
it.
Yeah.
Right, chairs determined, ayes have it. And you heard yays and nays hollered, and there's no opportunity for a roll call vote and stuff like that. They did that on one of the hemp laws last year, where in post-committee meeting conversation with different House members in the committee, some of the lobbyists for the hemp group had I think it was an 11-member, had it as a 7-4 nay on one of the votes, but the chair called it for the yays, and there's no so they came out of the meeting and they asked everybody, did you say yay or nay to that? And they went around to all 11 of them and got the count, and it was a 7-4 nay. But the chair said, I hear, ayes have it, click, and moved on.
Yeah.
And it's there's no recourse for this. Now, either they're lying in post to save face, which is, again, that's part of why it's stupid. It's if you're going to vote on something as a fucking House member, it should be on record. Period.
Yeah, because you have to preface it.
You could say yay and then tell everybody you said nay because that's what you told everybody you were going to say nay. But then you say yay because the chair or whatever told you to, and you do it, and then nobody gets to prove whether you did or didn't say it.
I'm assuming there's somewhere in there where a member can be I want a roll call or whatever. But
you can request
it,
but the
right
chair,
time.
I think, right, it's a timing thing, and then the chair can deny it unless there's some compelling reason or some shit like that. So, I don't know. That's horse shit to read, and I don't like it. But again, I have a lot of respect for Amelia and her willingness to just fight the losing battle that is her existence in city council. Not her existence as a human being, people. Let me clarify what I just said. It is a losing battle to be her. And she is willing to fight that losing battle, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Again,
she's fighting for what she believes in, and going with the flow.
I disagree with her on a lot of the things that she picks the fights on, but I respect the fact that she's willing to keep fighting it, even though it is very clear that it's going to be a 6-3 against her 7-2, 8-1, and she's going to be that one over and over and over again. But she does have some other parts that it's just she put on her Facebook banner last Thursday night or Tuesday night after the meeting changed to Knoxville City Council hates poor people. And that didn't go over well with the other city councilors, obviously. then that became a whole big thing in the city council. Like I feel I have a little empathy for the other city councilors who probably didn't even notice that she did it, but then get texts or calls from the different media people around town that pay attention and go, "Hey, how do you feel about Amelia doing this thing?" And then they have to answer to it, and they have to have a statement on it. And it's like, I really don't care.
Well, I think honestly, say I'm not aware of it.
Right, but well, now that you've heard it, what do you think? That would be the standard kind of journalistic move there.
Yeah, and the standard
like the Taco
thing
Trump
is to say,
incident.
No comment.
The Taco Trump incident was, he according to him at least, he wasn't aware of the taco moniker until that lady asked him in the press conference.
Really?
Yeah, I had not heard that. And Taco Trump continues. I know we try to stay away from national, and I really don't. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't do this. Like, what do you know about the Iran situation?
Riots.
Huh?
I already talked about riots.
I know, but that's because it was relevant because we had a local non-riot protest on the same topic going on here as we speak.
Yeah.
What have you heard on the Iran situation so far?
Israel fired some missiles or did some strikes last night.
Mm-hmm.
I think earlier today, Iran shot some missiles back. I'm not sure of the
efficacy of their attack.
Yeah.
I think
that was the latest I've heard.
Dr. Tredeparsi. He's an often guest on Middle East issues on Breaking Points.
Mm-hmm.
His take on it is that this was intentional by the Trump administration. It's a known that Netanyahu's wanted to do it for a while. That's irrelevant. Other than, the only the main theoretical constraining factor to Netanyahu doing it was the U.S.'s foreign policy on the topic, to which we stated and repeated that we don't want them to do that. But like the Parsi's take on it was that essentially Netanyahu and or the Israeli defense ministers that are talking to the Trump team basically said, "This will help you win this negotiation with Iran if you let us bomb them first." And so at least his take on it is that while Trump was publicly talking about how negotiations are going well and we're very pleased with the progress we're making in talks, and they were supposed to have talks here on Sunday with Iran about their nuclear situation and all that kind of stuff, that while the public side of Trump was saying all that kind of stuff, the reality was that Trump knew this was about to happen. And
we pulled people out of our embassies in that area.
Right. And that's part of what leads him to that conclusion. It's like we've cleared out a bunch of different personnel in some radius of a potential strike zone, whether it's the Israel strike or the Iranians' response strikes and stuff like that. And so it seems likely that the U.S. knew about it and Trump knew about it going into this.
Yeah, I think he was questioning about it last night or today, if he had, I guess, prior knowledge of this attack.
Which goes back to, maybe not the episode immediately following the October 7th situation, but pretty close to it. I remember my first take on it was, one of my early takes on it was, I'm scared to death that we're going to get in another stupid war, and I'm not going to be a good enough dad to talk my kids out of signing up. Or getting forced to sign up. I doubt we get to that level. I'd be really surprised if we get to a draft level conflict. And I was talking about it today. Like, actually, it was really good. It was Bill Burr and Neil Brennan. I think it's Neil Brennan's podcast. Bill Burr was on it talking about how, like, kind of making fun of the whole thing about how, like, if you don't want war, you don't support our troops. And it's like, well, no. It's like, I can complain about the coach of my football team, and it doesn't mean I'm not a fan of the team.
Right.
I'm still a fan of the team, and the reason I'm complaining about the coach is because I'm such a fan of the team. If I didn't care about the team, I wouldn't complain about the coach making poor decisions. And I was like, that's a really good analogy. I'm going to hold on to that and use it as soon as I can, and try to, because like that is as close to a perfect analogy about how I feel about it too. It's like I don't, the off phrase I use is I'm tired of making disabled veterans. I think that's our biggest issue. One of our biggest issue in the military is our VA and the system, and taking care of these guys that made a heroic choice to do what they did. Let's make less of them. Let's make that the goal on that's how we fix the VA, reduce the need. That would be amazing. Let's reduce how many people are dependent on the VA for their physical and health care because they've got fucked up overseas or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be great. It's not that I don't want them to have good support. It's that I don't want them to exist because they didn't go and get fucked up. That's my take on that. So anyway, I'm scared to death right now. I'm so scared of.
No, I don't think this will lead to a wider conflict.
I don't know how Iran doesn't. Like, I mean, I don't know how Iran doesn't do something, and then we are obligated to get involved if they do a real direct strike on Israel.
What do you think we would get? I mean, they've already.
We were directly involved in the defense of the direct strikes from Iran. But the question, I mean, the thing about it to me is that if Iran strikes, the Iran return strikes that have happened with Israel have been telegraphed and obvious in a way that we could help Israel and us could reasonably defend the strikes. Like the big, massive, I don't know, how many missiles did they send over that one day? It was like a couple
How
hundred.
did we assist in that?
It was like a couple
Other
hundred.
than that was some of our stuff that was.
It was our stuff, but there's
sold.
also one of our aircraft carriers has or whatever, like scrambled some jets, and then some of these jets went up and shot down some of the missiles and shit like that too. Like we directly as the United States military shot down and disabled a number of the rockets that they'd sent over. The question is, what happens if Iran is successful in a strike instead of just a very loud saber rattle in like the ones they've done recently? You get what I'm saying?
Kind of.
Like the Iron Dome does a pretty good job. I know it's a real thing, and they do a pretty good job. Their air defense system in Israel is pretty phenomenal and does pretty good work. But it's already been beaten a couple times recently by Iran and Hezbollah. I think Hezbollah did the most recent one in that whole mess on that side, where they had gotten some drones or like small, like low-tech rockets through them. Not very well, as far as didn't do a very good job hitting their targets because they weren't smart enough to change direction, but they figured out how to get some rockets across. So what happened? My point, my concern here is like this is a pretty significant strike from Israel to Iran, and if Iran responds in kind and is successful, what does the U.S. do? Now, if Israel and the U.S. are successful in blocking 95 to 100% of the rockets or whatever it is that Iran sends over, then status quo will probably continue. Which status quo is not a very comfortable place, I don't think, either. But, if they send a couple hundred rockets over and we as the United States and Israel fail to defend those rockets strikes and 100 rockets hit Jerusalem or something like that, I would be hard-pressed to think that we have our boys and girls going over there really fast.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, all right. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I don't see this being much of a ground war. I think it's going to be, if anything, more missiles, but neither one of them. Saw a guy talking about it earlier today. I forget what the short arms are supposed to be, but he compared them both to like short arms and short legs, in that, I guess they have limited strike capabilities, but they also, can't afford to send a force across because there's a good space. I mean, they basically have Iraq and I think Jordan, it's in between the two countries.
Right.
So, I mean, you've got a large space, and neither one is going to mobilize a force and try to march them all across the vast land to try to do any kind of like invasion, to have any kind of like major ground war that would even prompt us to put troops on the ground.
That's fair. Did you see Lindsey Graham's statement on the topic?
No.
So Israel, who fires rockets, needs to be prayed for because they're the victim. It was pray for Israel, and it was a woohoo. I think the quote was literally woohoo, basically cheering on the attack that they made, and then pray for Israel, which is really confusing.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find it while because I
don't think I was watching. The guy had mentioned that by some military expert calculations, Iran's starting to run out of A, missiles, and B, I forget what they call it. There's a name of a certain machine that actually makes, I guess, like the rocket fuel that keeps any kind of like air bubbles or something getting into it. And that was something that I think Israel had struck before. I guess they've had some intelligence of Iran trying to buy, I guess, like missile material from China, which would lead them to believe they're getting low on stocks, I guess, as far as munitions to send off.
Does Iran have any friends, or are they just kind of lonely, like North Korea kind of thing? I mean, China's not unfriendly to North Korea, but they're not super friends.
Well, I mean, it sounds like Iran was trying to buy some stuff from China, but I say they have other, at least, I don't know if I would call them allies, but I guess they have other friendly countries around them that they probably trade with. I don't think they're quite as isolated as North Korea.
Gotcha. There it is. This is the one I was looking for. The response to it was a retweet of Israel attacks Iran live updates. Lindsey Graham says, "Game on. Pray for Israel." Like, you have a timeout because of injury or something in football, and then you say, "Game on." Like that's the appropriate use of that phrase. Like, let's get back to it.
Right. We took a little break, and now it's back on.
So what are we getting back to here, Lindsey? Like, what game are you returning to play? Because then his next one is somebody asked him if Iran would attack American military personnel because of what Israel had done, and his answer is, if they do, America should have an overwhelming response and destroy all of Iran's oil. Like, I knew he was a war hawk, but I didn't think he was that obvious. I thought he was a little bit more like...
I didn't think he was that much of a war hawk, but I can't say I know a whole lot about it.
Like, I mean, he's an Iran hawk, I think is what they like to call him, because it's not a war. It's not all wars, although he's apparently not opposed to many of them. But he really wants to go to war with Iran. Don't know the history there. All right, sorry. So let's try to get back local. All right, done with this national stuff that scares the shit out of me. That's the wrong thing. What else? Did you read the story about the KPD officer that stole some kratom?
I did see that.
Oh, I don't know why that's so funny.
It was only like $50-$60. But
I mean, it's not. I mean, kratom's not cheap.
Was the person working like not there? Because it sounded like they just got him on camera. But yeah, apparently, like the story said, like he went like behind the counter and grabbed like 2 or 3 bags or whatever.
I don't know. I didn't see the video, or I didn't see any of the full stories other than the headline on it. Apparently, the kid's only been on KP. He's a kid. He's like 22. He's only been on the force for like 6 months.
I thought maybe it might have been a couple of years. Yeah, it wasn't long.
It might have been 2. I mean, you might be right. It might. I
thought it was 2023. Maybe was when it started.
Either way, it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here? To me, there's 2 questions. Not that this kid's going to talk. There's going to be no interviews. Any investigation KP2 does on the matter is going to be internal. We're not going to get to see it. I would be curious if if anybody's done any FOIA requests on it yet, but if they're doing any investigation other than he's on leave right now. Right, I mean, there's really only 3 reasons you steal stuff. Is you want it and you can't afford it.
Or you want to resell it.
You want it. You want it and you don't want the record of having bought it. Or you just like stealing shit. Like, I can't think of another reason. Like, you would like the thrill. You like the thrill of like, it makes you feel alive.
All right.
The rush of adrenaline as you're taking things that aren't yours. Which that's scary if that's an internal motivator for a police officer, seeking out that adrenaline rush. But the other 2 being, I think, the more reasonable ones is that he wanted it. Like he uses it for pain relief because, I mean, it's not like, I don't know, 22, 23-year-old. You know, what's a rookie tour for an Army brat? Like if you graduate at 18 and go straight in, it's 4 years.
Sounds about right. I'm not sure.
So it's possible that he might have done. He might be an Army or Marine veteran. Did his minimum and decided it wasn't for him and came out and got into law enforcement. I'm sure that's not an uncommon situation.
Probably, yeah.
And not unlike our friend Max, who spent a limited time in the Marines and is still on disability from the Marines because he had how do I say this nicely? I always like to say it really mean because it's funny, but the nice way, I guess, would be had a training accident where they were doing some rope work out of a helicopter, and he basically just fell out of a helicopter from like 30 feet or something like that. And his back is still fucked up to this day. Anyway, something like that happened to this kid while he was in, and one of his pain management techniques has been using kratom, but he didn't want his partner who he was running beat with to know about it, or he didn't want KPD to know that he was using it or something like that as one of his pain relief methods. Or he has a spouse or girlfriend or roommate or good friend that makes use of the product. I'm trying to be generous about like appropriate use of the product. It's a weird product to say appropriate use of because that's one of the few things that I don't like selling. We do sell it. But like that's the only product in the store that people are like, what's this stuff? Don't worry about it. Like I will literally say that to customers.
Yeah.
Like I love selling shit. I will sell all sorts of shit to anybody that I can sell shit to. But when people come in and ask about Kratom that they don't already know about it, it's like, no, you need to go if you want it, if you're curious, go learn and then we can come back and talk about it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what it is, it's not for you. That's how I treat Kratom because like, you know, there are different people that use it for different reasons. And like we have some, I mean, you've had a couple when you were working there that were recovering junkies that it was this or heroin. And so they went to this because this doesn't fuck them up as bad. And it at least dulls the receptors that are pissed off when you're detoxing from heroin and it lets you get through the day. Anyway.
I can see it also being kind of like a power trip thing of like, because there's some cops that kind of take advantage of going into like restaurants and stuff to where they just kind of like expect it. They're like, you know, wear a badge. Like I should get something for free.
Right. And but that falls under number 3, the thrill of it kind of thing.
Well, there's that thrill of stealing, but I think it's a little different than like a power trip of being like, you know, I could just take this. It's not worth that much to them. And
what are they going to do about
it? I'm protecting them when I'm working this beat.
Right. Which goes back to that, what was the thing we were talking about a couple weeks ago? Not fraud, not racketeering.
Thought it was racketeering.
I don't remember. No. When the mob comes in and says, it'd be a shame if this place
burnt extortion.
Down. Yeah. So that's basically an extortion move then. It's like, you owe me this because I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Which, that still kind of falls under that kind of thriller thing. But I see what you're saying. That kind of is a little bit of that would be option 3B, maybe.
Yeah.
But either way, like none of it's good. Like the only one that I think is short term forgivable would be the, you know, I have an injury from prior stuff and it's a pain relief thing that I've been using, and I didn't want KPD to know about it because I know, like I was talking to,
but he still had it with him. I mean, how's he keeping it from them?
Well, just he doesn't have it. He doesn't have purchased, like there's no purchase records and proof that he's been buying it regularly if he's stealing it all the time.
He just pay cash.
Maybe he's not that smart. He's 22, man. Those kids don't know what cash is.
All I got's a Cash App card.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I Venmo it to you?
Yeah, can I Venmo?
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's a ridiculous story, is what it is. Just like, come on, like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't even know how to make fun of it. It's so ridiculous. Like, duh. The Richard L. Bean thing's coming to some new parts and pieces. Have you followed any of that story?
That's what I was trying to read over. It sounds like they had some kind of...
So essentially,
leaders just spoke on it, I guess.
There's two kind of not parallel, like there's a Durette's putting up a resolution, and Mayor Jacobs is putting up an ordinance that are going to kind of run concurrently, one after the other. I think the resolution from Durette is that, or maybe that's the other side of it. One or the other, whatever. The short term, the very short term part of it is when Bean officially quits here in another month and a half. The county commission is going to disband the board of trustees that oversees the Mr. Bean's office, and 4 county commissioners and an appointee by the juvenile court judge, Tim Irwin. So the Irwin will appoint somebody, and then 4 current county commissioners will be the oversight board, who will hire an interim director and then oversee it until the end of the year. And then after that, it's going to transfer to the sheriff's office with an 18-month deal. And that 18-month deal being pending any changes with Durette's thing is definitely got a task force to study best practices and worked with DHS and some national juvenile criminal justice advocacy groups to figure out what the best way to do it long term would be. And so Jacobs, I don't know, Jacobs basically built it to end when he is leaving office, so that if they want to change something, it doesn't have anything to do with him. He's gone by that point.
Yeah,
because he is actively wants to just push with the sheriff's office. He just wants the sheriff's office to oversee it and be done with it. But a couple of the county commissioners are like, well, maybe let's use this opportunity to set something up that everybody agrees is right, not just the easiest solution that is dump it on the sheriff. Now, apparently,
and they're already short-staffed.
The current, it's a whole different subset of staffing. Like his current Knox County jailers can't work at the juvenile detention center. I did follow up with Scott on the big question.
The big question? Yeah,
the big question of the detention center, the juvenile detention center, he didn't give me a percentage, but the majority it's literally like a couple hours stay. Most people, there are some kids whom like violent offenses, stuff like that, who are serving time of a conviction. If there is a juvenile in Knox County that is serving conviction time for something, they are in there. But most of the kids that are in there, up to 120 at a time, are in there because they got arrested this morning. And that period of time, whenever everything gets settled out, and then they get released pending a court date, and then the court date comes, and most of these kids get some pretty significant probation or something like that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of kids that are getting convicted and sentenced to anything with any sort of real jail time attached to it. There are some.
So some story, I can't remember, there was the name of like an outside group, I guess, that frequently goes there. And I guess in this kind of like interim in between, they haven't been able to go in there. But I think they said usually they're some of the only ones that go in there and like talk to the kids outside of, usually it's just staff that are in there. So I guess they don't really have like social workers or any kind of like mental health counselors, etc.
Well, I mean, it's
like sometimes kids just. I think the group said they like to go in there and just let the kids know that there are people on the outside that care about them and how they're doing, etc.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's one of the things. And like, county commission definitely asked DC, state children's services or whatever, to have weekly visits until this gets settled. And so they're asking for more oversight from people that know what the fuck they're talking about, because nobody other than Richard Bean apparently in Knox County knows anything about how this works. Although I did read a long story from an unrelated Betty Bean, who is a former journalist, retired journalist, and quite Edna Mode. Remember Edna Mode from Incredibles, the designer in Incredibles?
No.
Okay. Well, for those of you that get it, she kind of looks like her in real life. But she was not related to the Bean family, but her last name is Bean. Apparently, like, there is some relation, like, way back, like 32nd cousin kind of shit. But when she was working for New Sentinel or something like that, she was covering something going on there. And she told a story about how, and this was like in the 80s or 90s, so way back. That's so funny to say, way back. Apparently, Richard Bean had a pennies for panties jar on his desk, which sounds really, really bad.
Yeah, bit.
And so she goes on to talk about this interview she did with him and stuff like that. And then she mentions that she took a handful of change out of her pocket and threw it in the jar. It was a poorly named, very kind-hearted attempt, because basically in the conversation he's talking about how, like, they don't have a lot of funding for clothes and stuff. And so, kid comes in for a night or whatever, and they give him a set of clothes that includes underwear and stuff like that. That's clothes that the last kid that was in that cell had, and we wash it, but it's still underwear that somebody else was wearing yesterday. And so he's like, I'd like to, as best I can, we don't have budget for it, but as best I can, I try to raise money and go out and buy fresh underwear so that if nothing else, they at least have clean, brand new underwear that they're getting from us. It's like, that's a terrible name for a pretty decent program. like, I mean, come on, man. Like, what do you like? But so anyway, like that's going to be a long process figuring this whole thing out. Because apparently Knox County is the only place in the state that has a system at all like this. Almost every other jurisdiction, the juvenile court oversees the juvenile detention center. They don't. It's not. And the handful that don't do that, it's the sheriff's office locally that oversees it.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, this is the only one that has an independent third-party organization oversight board that does this particular duty.
You would assumed it was sold off at the time of like, oh, this will save the county money, when more often than not, private contractors that cost the city or county more money.
But as far as I understand, is that the 7-member board that only 3 are allowed to vote are all it's an unpaid board assignment.
Right, but as far as running it, I'm assuming they're getting money from the county and the city.
Yeah, but either way, like in other counties where the juvenile court oversees it, the juvenile court hires a person to be the director of the juvenile detention center.
Yeah.
So the equivalent of what of Richard Bean as a paid employee of the city or county is there. It's just instead of having a board hire him, it's the juvenile court hires him or the sheriff's office hires him. And so it's all the same. Like the budgetarily, it shouldn't be any much, if any, different.
I mean, obviously he's making money somehow.
Yeah, but the equivalent of him exists in every system, in every version of it in the state. Like if the sheriff's office takes over in January, which is Jacob's plan, Spangler is going to hire a person to run the juvenile detention center. So there, that yes, Richard Bean makes money, but somebody else is going to make that money doing the same job. Like there's no version of it that that person doesn't exist and get paid.
Right, right.
And so, like, I don't know that there's any more. It's not a privatized jail system, I guess, is what I'm trying to put. Like, there's no privatization to what's going on here. It's no different.
Assuming he's got some kind of contract with the city or county.
No, it is an entity of the county. The Richard Bean Juvenile Detention Center is a county building that is owned and operated by the county. He is the paid employee of Knox County to run that thing. So, like, you have. I know 1,000 names. I'm blanking out on all of them. Grant Rosenthal, who is the chief executive officer of the city of Knoxville. He's a paid employee of the city of Knoxville. And he oversees, he's essentially the professional version of the elected office of mayor. He is at the bidding of the mayor, but as far as the executive function, that's his job. He goes out there and chases down. He oversees all the departments inside the city. Like when they have executive meetings, so all the chairs of all the departments in the city come to his office, and he sits down and runs those meetings with the mayor. But right. That's his job. And so he's a paid employee. Like Richard Bean is a paid employee of Knox County. The detention center is paid for by Knox County. The employees that work inside the detention center are Knox County employees.
It's just not run by the court system.
Right. It's just run by this weird little 7-member board thing, that's the unique part. But that's an unpaid body. And apparently the 3 that bother voting are all friends of Bean's, and so Bean just did whatever he wanted. So the oversight thing was a failure. Because the question is who assigned who is appointing or electing or whatever it is, who's assigning these people to the board to oversee them. That's kind of where the failure seems to be in the reality of this. What you got over there?
Looks like the county government's got a hiring freeze expected to save more than $500,000.
Cool. I'm really mad right now. Did you see did you see on your way in that they're building a new crosswalk at Rocky Hill Elementary School?
No.
Yeah, they're building a new crosswalk that is where I crossed Morel a bajillion times for 8 fucking years without a crosswalk.
And you're mad because they're doing something that might help you? Or now it's not really going to help you anymore.
It's not any good for me anymore. They finally get around to doing it. Then the sales tax bucket thing, I don't know. I think I might be overly cynical. No, I'm not. I'm totally right. I know I'm right. Where are you at? There you. This thing that you sent me. Thank you for sending it to me, by the way.
Yeah, I couldn't click on the areas you were talking about. I was trying to look at it on my phone.
Okay, so
I thought they had a small list of projects that they were planning on using it on.
I think the short version is. God, fucking Christ Almighty! Where are you at? There's a short version of the URL that makes it easier to say, but it's Knoxville.tn.gov/sales tax / new spending or something. Fuck, I don't remember. I might put a link in the show notes. I'll probably forget. But it's the 5-year investment plan. And so we've talked about how much they think they're going to generate and stuff. We all know the $47 million a year, blah, 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 5 years. 50, rounded up $50 million over 5 years, $250 million they're going to spend over the next 5 years that aren't currently in budget for stuff. Okay. So, so you go to the website and you look at it and it's a sales site. This is trying to sell you, the public, on voting for this, and that's fine. The plan prioritizes sidewalks. Everybody wants their goddamn sidewalks within 1 mile of schools. They have miles and miles of sidewalks that cost $1 million a fucking mile that they want to put in across the city, only for city. If you're a school that is not within the city limits, you will not be getting any sidewalks from this program. Duh. Repairs to greenways, facilities, and parks. And so Dean Hill Rec Center over here, one of the things for District 2 is Dean Hill Rec Center is going to get some modification upgrades and stuff like that. And then some affordable housing and some other infrastructure needs. So it's like, okay, that all sounds cool. And then when you click on a district, would you like to pick one? Which district would you like to pick?
Oh, let's do 6.
You want to do 6? I was going to say let's do 1. That's where your old house was. 6 works. All right. So in District 6, sidewalks in the PRZ, the Parent Responsibility Zone, within a mile of a school. Sidewalks they want to put in is Boys Bridge Pike near Brooks Avenue, Boys Bridge Pike's near Border Street, College Street near Geraldman Avenue, South Castle Street near Wilson, and Wilson Avenue near Hembry Street. Those feed Green Magnet, Beaumont, and Austin East in Juarez. Renovations including playground equipment for the Holston River Park, infrastructure at Chilhowie Park, what's left of it after that sale goes through, greenways in the East Knox Greenway, a new section towards the Knoxville Botanical Gardens, and then a new section connecting Caswell Park at the Lower First Creek Greenway, and then Dr. E.V. Davidson Community Center renovations is what they want to do over the next 5 years. And then you continue to scroll down, and it says road paving, $20 million, adding approximately 75 extra miles, neighborhood traffic calming projects, safety projects, that's $12.5 million, in housing, that's $50 million. Now, it does say clearly, let me be upfront about this. It does say 5-year citywide investments right there.
That's what I was about to say. Did you miss that?
I did not miss that. But why would you do it this way? It makes no fucking sense. That green section down there, right there, that green section should be on this page. Because this is all the general stuff that we want to do, and then this is the green section, which is the general amounts we're going to be able to spend. But instead, they put the green sections inside the district, which the first time I did look through it, I said, that doesn't make any mathematical sense. Because I did breeze right by that phrase, 5-year citywide investments, the first time I was looking through it. Because the way this is built, whether it's intentional or not, the way this is built makes it feel like they're spending $72.5 million in each district over 5 years. It does. It absolutely does.
If you don't read the heading right above the information provided.
Yeah. Because people don't read the fucking headings. They read the
underlined
graphics. They shouldn't have put it on this page. Why would you split up the districts the way you're splitting them up and then put a citywide plan inside each district? If you're going to put a citywide thing in, you put it on the citywide page, which is the page before this. I would argue, the skeptic and angry person that is me, I'm arguing that they did it on purpose. I believe this is intentional, to try to oversell what's happening here. Now, the more reasonable is maybe this is just poor design because you're not going to get the best and brightest of web designers working for the city of Knoxville.
Or maybe they think that most people, once they see that kind of like main page with the map, they're going to go to their community.
Exactly. That's exactly. I agree 1,000%. The first thing
meaning that they're not going to spend as much time on that first page.
But the first thing I did is I saw it and I said, I'm basically in District 2. Let's see what's going on in District 2. I didn't read a single fucking word on this thing other than let's see the District 2 projects. And then my initial reading of it until I realized the math didn't make sense was I absolutely scrolled right past that phrase, 5-year citywide investment. It shouldn't be on this page. Again, the angry skeptic in me thinks it's intentional. Maybe the more pragmatic realist in me is saying we just don't have the best and brightest of web designers that work for the city of Knoxville.
No, I think they really consciously thought that most people aren't going to spend that much time on the previous page.
Fine, good. But don't put...
But to put this information out, they want the most eyeballs on it. So if most people are going to even come to this page whatsoever, the previous page...
Then divide it by 6 and then put the numbers on there that would be the estimate of how much you're going to spend in this district.
Because I don't think it's equal across.
No, it's not.
It's equal across the whole city.
No, but because it's... And it also... Well,
they've still got to get contracts for the other stuff, too, so they don't have final prices.
The evil salesman in me would do the same fucking thing. I would put this together to make it look like you're getting $72 million worth of shit when you're only going to really get 7.
I don't think this is some big ruse. Maybe if they put the 5-year citywide investments like really small... I'm more believing of you, but
I don't think.
Maybe they should have gone a couple fonts up. I don't know.
Maybe if it's citywide conversation, they should put it on. If they're going to have a citywide page, put that on the citywide page. And if you're going to go in the districts, and then it should be, or at least it would say in this district a portion of $20 million in paving. It doesn't make any sense why you would just in a flow chart of logic. It doesn't make any sense that you do this. I 100% agree with you that you want to get it in front of as many eyeballs as you can, and that's the only remotely logical reason you would do it this way. It's still at best stupid. At worst, it's deceiving. Like it's either intentionally deceiving or it's dumb.
Don't know how you want them to be more clear when they're putting out the numbers.
If you're gonna
the onus is on you. If you're not going to read the fucking heading, it's your stupidity not to do it. If you're going to look at numbers and not look at what's around it, and just so I'm going to focus on part of a sentence.
I agree. I am a stupid fucking constituent, and I am the smartest of all the constituents I talk to on a regular fucking basis. So if you know that most people are
just trying to read really quickly.
That your fucking audience is dumb and you're exploiting it. I agree. You're right, 100%. You're taking advantage of your dumb shit audience because they're going to assume the same way I did because I fucking know better, and that's the only reason I caught it. It's because I know they don't have $72.5 million to spend in District 2 over the next 5 years. It doesn't make mathematical sense. That's the only reason I caught it.
I think you're just looking for a problem.
No, I think it's intentional. If it's not intentional, it's stupid. It's stupidity or intent. There's only 2 options according to me.
Disagree. It wouldn't have been a bad idea to put those facts on the main page, but again, like I said, I think most people when they go into this, they're gonna want to know what happens in their district.
The simple solution would be after this first section that is the specific of what's happening in the district. You put this 5-year citywide investments as a link, and it says click here to see what total spending is or something like that. That makes it clear that it is a different thing. This does not make it clear that it's a different thing, even with the fucking words on the page. It doesn't. I don't like it. I'm not even a city resident. I don't care. Fucking burn the shit down. Fuck them. Don't know. That's a bad time to say that joke. It's not. I'm not being serious. Allegedly or whatever. I don't fucking know. Like that's just it. It obviously gets me a little excited. I don't have the patience. I'm not generous with them anymore. I refuse to be generous with them anymore. If they like shit like this is either intentional or stupid. There's only I'm over it. There's I will agree. I will 100% agree that it is likely that the web design team that works for the city of Knoxville is not the best web designers that we have in Knox County. I'll agree with that. And so that leads to the second option of it's stupidity. And maybe not stupidity, just not quality professionals doing the job. And I'm okay with that. Like if that's the real reason that they did it this way, it's like, well, we like Sam was saying on the podcast, we wanted to make sure everybody saw that because that was the most important thing is how much we're spending throughout the city, and we wanted to make sure everybody saw that. And we thought that most people just wanted to see what's going on in their neighborhood, and we wanted to make sure that they saw this part too. It's like, okay, I can agree with that, but there's a better way to do that makes it clear that this is not what's getting spent in this neighborhood, because this doesn't do that. Because I bet you, I could do it. God damn it, I know enough people that run internet marketing companies that do websites and social media and stuff like that I could ask if you wanted to get this set of information out, is this the way you would do it? I guarantee you the answer is no from all of them. They clearly set it up as the entire city page with a link to this YouTube video, and here's the city and the city map, and here's the broad strokes of the citywide stuff, and not a single mention of dollars spent on this page. Not even the total number. We expect to make $47 million a year in additional revenues for the city of Knoxville from doing this. Not a single word about the actual impact of the tax on this page. It's just about what we can do citywide. This would be where you put the block that says $20 million in roads, $10 million in affordable housing, $12.5 million in whatever the fuck other one is. This is where that would go logically. Because this whole page is just talking about citywide.
Right.
It doesn't talk about this greenway or that greenway or this park and that park or this set of sidewalk or that set of sidewalk. It's just talking about sidewalks all throughout the city. Greenways, facilities, and parks, including 8 new extensions. Paving an additional 75 miles of road to help the growing number of tourists and cars and residents. 1,000 affordable houses, additional infrastructure need. This is what we're going to spend totally on that. This is where that would go.
Aren't they kind of like restating without the numbers what are in the citywide 5-year plan in that?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like that was like a 5-point thing, and they narrow it down to 3. $20 million in roads, neighborhood traffic calming and safety projects. That's going to include your sidewalks, speed bumps, infrastructure improvements.
I mean, they're restating the same information, but here they're putting dollar figures on it.
Exactly.
Does it make a difference?
Yes. Put the dollar figures with the citywide statement. And if you want to put
the dollar figures really make a difference to you.
I would think so, yeah. If you're asking to take more money out of my pocket, I would like to know how much you're going to be spending, which obviously is going to be all you're taking, yes, but I would like to know like what you're spending it on and how much you're going to be spending on it. Because like even like this top section here doesn't address the $50 million, which is the lion's share, 2/3 of the total spend in affordable housing. I don't believe any of the districts make mention of we're going to build a new apartment project. Nope. Each of the districts just has sidewalks, parks, greenways, facilities. And so the lion's share of spending is on housing, and that's not even listed by district. Mainly because they don't know where it's going to be.
I was about to say they're probably still trying to figure some of that out.
It's going to be tax incentive programs and stuff they're given to people to encourage them to build. They can't, unless the city is going to literally buy property and build a building and manage an apartment complex themselves, or KCDC would be the ones doing it. Unless they plan on spending money that way, which $50 million wouldn't get them a small apartment complex somewhere in town. But unless that's the plan for the spend, then they don't know where it's going to be until the developers come along and they use that money as leverage against X, Y, or Z. Again, I'm right. You agree. Thank you.
Not quite.
Almost.
Just barely.
Tallman is in. He lives in Dandridge, but he is a 4th District resident in the city of Knoxville.
Due to a special thing of him working on that property or something?
I don't know. Like I've been trying. I tried to devil's advocate.
Has it been confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay.
The election commission and Chris Davis and his crappy lightning met this week and had a hearing on that and was voted upon. I almost interrupted Scott's podcast with explaining to people because it was a partisan line vote. There's 5 members of the election commission. 3 are Republicans, 2 are Democrats. There's a reason for all that, and I can explain that in a second. The 3 Republicans said, yes, Mr. Tallman can run. The 2 Democrats said, no, he shouldn't be able to run. Although there's nothing really partisan about the question here. Tallman would be the furthest right candidate of the 3, but he's not really a Republican by any stretch either. He ran for city mayor a couple years ago. He's run for office a few different times. But by my understanding of it, there is no accounting. There's no one claiming him to be a Republican. So why the Republicans would want him to run and the Democrats wouldn't, I don't think it's a political issue. I think it's the broader issue. I don't know. I really don't. I'm curious. There was some quotes out of the different people on it on why they made the decision the way they made the decision, but I don't really quite understand the partisan part of it. Like it doesn't really make sense. Because
sure.
it's not a philosophical issue as far as I would argue for either party on the for or against. I mean, other than I guess the Republican state legislature put the law in place that lets you be absent for a period of time.
Yeah, maybe they were about setting precedent.
Well, I mean, I guess.
If this actually had to get voted on, it sounds like they haven't really come across this before, at least locally.
No, I mean, and I'm not sure. Like, I'm curious. I guess somebody challenged it. If somebody has to challenge it. If nobody challenges it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so, if somebody challenged it, they're obliged to look into it, and there's enough there that makes it worth a hearing, and that's how we got where we were. And so I guess it's because I guess it makes sense. So our Republican legislature. So the way it works is, Knox County has the Knox County delegation to the state house and Senate, or the state house at least, is bipartisan. We have Republicans and Democrats that represent Knox County in the state house, and the percentage is not quite equatable. But since the majority are Republicans and the minority are Democrats, the 5 members get to be appointed by 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So the Democrats get 2 of the picks, the Republicans get 3 of the picks. So it's not the exact same percentage math, but it's basically the Republicans get to appoint the majority of the body.
But it goes off state legislature.
But it's the state house representatives from within the district.
Okay.
And so, that's not even right either, because Massey appointed one of them. So I asked Massey to appoint me, and since I'm not a party member, she wouldn't let me. I don't even think she responded to me when I asked, to be honest. But somebody was like, well, you got to be a party member. It's like, but that's the problem. But I know Massey appointed one, and I think Gloria appointed one, and McKinsey appointed one, and I don't know who the other 2 that got to appoint the other 2 of the Republicans. But that's just like functionally how that body works.
Yeah.
And so the 3 Republicans said, yeah, you can run. The 2 Democrats said, no, you can't. 3-2 wins. So Tallman's on the ballot, and then the election commission, that hearing being settled, then they immediately went into their official meeting on creation of the official ballot. So now we have the official ballot for the primary here in August. So if your name's on there, you're on there. If you didn't quit, and if you're wanting to quit, it's too late now. You're stuck running. So,
see, a federal House member is resigning from Tennessee.
Who? Ogles?
Green. I think Mark Green might be his name.
No idea.
Like he said, he's going to stick around, and I think he said he was going to stick around until this big, beautiful bill was passed. But I think he put out a statement saying he got an offer in the private sector that he just couldn't turn down.
Mm-hmm. Defense contractor?
Pharmaceutical? Don't think it's been stated. Trying to think, he's some district that's, I guess it was one of the ones that got reapportioned or whatever that's around Nashville, because apparently his thing took out like a little sliver of Metro Nashville or something.
So he's a Republican in a district that has carved out a handful of Democrats?
I think so. Or at least, I guess part of one of those districts whenever they redrew some lines.
I mean, that's a 6-figure job, but there's a lot of bigger 6-figure jobs in the private sector than.
Yeah.
Well, I think Federal House makes $250-ish a year. I remember I used to think that was a ton of money. It's not nothing. Don't get me wrong.
That's what the president makes. Doesn't he make like $250 or $3?
I thought the president made like 2-point-something million.
Nah.
All right. Let's see. Let's Google this shit.
I want to say 250 to 3. I thought it was like 250.
U.S. president now is 400.
400 a year. Okay.
That amount has been fixed since 2001. In addition, the president also receives an expense allowance of $50,000, I guess, per year, a travel account of $100,000, and an entertainment budget of $20,000. Non-taxable on those different subsets of things.
Yeah. I want to say he forfeited it his first term or some of his first term. Supposedly.
I mean, I don't think, annual salary for most U.S. House members is $174. Speaker gets $223. Majority and minority leaders get $193. So $174. It's not great money. It would not be difficult for a large private firm of some sort to have excessively more budget for employment than the
because they got to find someplace to live somewhere around D.C.
I think that's one of those. There's. I think
they have a frat house they can all stay at.
Well, so I'd say okay, so I'll bet you they get right congressional salaries and allowances in brief. This is Congress.gov, by the way. For compensation, the compensation for most senators, representative delegates, and resident commissioner from Puerto Rico is $174. The only exceptions are speaker. Blah blah blah. Maximum potential is 3.8. Okay, outside income prohibition. Health and life insurance prior to whatever states of health plans. Members of further employee group, life insurance, Social Security participation. I really feel like they get some housing allowance and shit like that for
their. I don't think so. I think it's on you. Could be wrong.
Right. So they're allowed to hire employees, and those employees are paid by the government, not by them personally. House disbursement, online publication of house disbursement, government publication, administration, senator's office, personnel expense account, office space, furniture and furnishings. Each senator is authorized furniture and furnishings from an approved list. Furniture and furnishings applies and maintained by the architect of the Capitol. Each senator is authorized $40,000 for state office furniture, furnishings, and more. In the aggregate, the footage of the office space, whatever. Compensation of members and maximum rates of compensation for their staff. Blah, 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 blah. President pro tempore, no. All right. I don't see it on here, but I'm sure it is. I just read through that super fast. And I got a little rum buzz going.
It's possible.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, if you got to find a place and shit like that, you're not making any money. So I mean, like I am convinced that Knox County mayor is the job. That's the fucking job. Solid six figures. I mean, hell, that might be more than a federal. So he might take a pay cut to be senator. I said that on the record, right? I said that on the show. Blackburn's coming back. She's going to be governor of Tennessee, and she's going to appoint Jacobs to finish her term as senator.
I think so. Okay. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of the Mark Green guy after he said he was going to quit. I was like, I wonder if Jacobs would try to go for that.
He can't. He'd have to move to Nashville.
He'd have to move to D.C. to be a federal House member.
Right, but he has to be a resident of the district he represents.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. You know that all he has to do is buy property, apparently.
Yeah.
And tell him he's working on it.
Pretend like he's doing something.
One of these days I'm going to fix it up and live there.
So he says like 170 something for a senator. Jacobs is only paid 96 grand. No, right. Okay. Mayor Jenner makes $219 annually. Spengler makes $208. What are you doing, AI?
That's on the Knox County government website.
Yeah, it says he's paid a salary of $96,000 annually. According to the News Sentinel, he makes $220,000 a year. Oh, I subscribed to you once. You suck.
Yeah, apparently they just canceled Bonner. Sorry.
For weather?
Yep.
I was watching. I legitimately that's what I could have put on. I was trying to put something on in the background here for us. Because Hosier's tonight. That sucks. I mean, I got some friends that went, and one of them really was excited to see Hosier.
Really?
And Hosier, I can't...
Take him to church.
Yeah. It's got a new album out. It's not bad. That first album was fantastic.
Yeah, Take Him to Church is the only song I heard.
Oh, man, that's one of my...
I liked it till it got overplayed.
Yeah. It definitely got that. It was beat into your brain. I think Kids Bop did it.
They do all the big hits.
I agree, but that is crazy. That was a category on Jeopardy the other night.
Kids Bop?
Yeah. Like, it was like... I can't remember exactly how the category worked out, but it was like... They gave Kids Bop lyrics, and then you were supposed to name the song, the original song or whatever. Oh, it's not, yeah, I guess it's canceled. There was a Hulu live stream of it. I was watching a little bit of some random band last night.
I've seen a few websites that advertise where you can get, I think what I've seen are mostly like jam bands and stuff. What were some of them called? Like one or two. It sounded like a couch or something. But I guess they have like certain bands that if you subscribe, you can get live shows.
What the hell? It's not even searchable on here anymore. I swear it was on Hulu. Maybe it wasn't. I know it was on Hulu. The golden hour is what they called it, which would be like right now. Like the sunset hour.
Nah, man, you need a late night jam.
Well, they just replay it at late night, but I don't know, whatever. I watched about 15 minutes of it last night, having no idea what I was looking at. I'm not cool or hip. Whatsoever. Jeff Tallman. Josh Smith. This is a crazy fun story. Knoxville resident Josh Smith. He is the owner, or the previous owner, of a master service company. You've heard of him. You've seen him around town.
Maybe.
They do like home remodel, repair, stuff like that. He is a felon who was pardoned by Trump at the end of Trump's first term.
Mm-hmm.
Like on like the last couple of days, like Jan 1, 2, before the riots, or the whatever the fuck happened on January 6th, before that happened. Anyway, he was pardoned in that. He was out of jail anyway. He was already well into his career. Apparently, he was a felony drug dealer. Ended up in a white collar felony federal prison. Met a lot of fraudsters and whatnot that were in the white collar prison. Learned business, and went out and got out and started master services, and grew it into whatever and sold it for a gajillion dollars, like huge money. Maybe it was a billion with a B sale, if not close to it, a multi-million-dollar sale of the company. To which he rolled that into a nonprofit and has done a bunch of work with the reassimilation of inmates into regular society. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he bought an old motel or something over in East Knoxville and renovated it up, made it pretty decent, and made it. It wasn't a halfway house per se, but it was like a
transition kind of house,
right? Discounted kind of transition housing, made it a little cheaper, more affordable for guys or gals getting out. But also had some extra services on site for people who were trying to refigure out how the fucking world works if they've been in jail for 20 years or whatever. So he's been very active in the prison space and whatever. Has been appointed as the deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons by Mr. Trump. So he is the second in command to the federal prison system.
Okay,
and he's a Knoxville boy.
Nice.
It's just a very interesting story. Like, in the history of the federal government, or at least in the history of the Department of the Federal Bureau of Prisons or whatever, there has been no felon ever remotely high in leadership positions. No previous felon, prior felon, whatever the technical term is there.
I think when you get pardoned, doesn't your record kind of get expunged?
I'm not sure. That was a thought I had, and I didn't ask that question because that was.
I think there's like clemency, which means like you get out early, but it's still on your record. And then I think I thought a pardon kind of makes it all go away, but I could be wrong.
I thought it was the other way, whatever.
Did you see Giuliani's son is I think he's like the director, like or head of like the planning for World Cup?
No, I did not.
Yeah, because I'm sure he has lots of experience in planning, one of the world's largest sporting events.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's already pretty well planned out, I would think.
Nah.
Yeah. I would think that they know, like, I bet you the schedule's already known. Who's coming and not is irrelevant. Like, that's all, FIFA.
I don't know if qualifiers are finished or not.
I mean, that's sort of like if we're planning, the planning's fucking done. They're done planning the World Cup.
Yeah, it's most of the planning, but
they know what cities are going on. They know who's playing where. They don't know who's playing where. They know what dates games are going on and all that kind of stuff. All that's already set. I'm sure that they've already. I'm sure that locally, and this would be something he would oversee as it continues to go on. They're starting to work contracts with hotels and housing for teams and players and coaches and staff and stuff like that. So that team, Switzerland's going to stay when they're, team whatever. Like, because right now they're just numbers, right? So Group A, Team 1 is going to stay here because Group A is playing in these 3 stadiums in this area. And so we're going to get a hotel house we'll get some housing for them for while they're here. And that they're going to move around, but then we're going to block. They've probably already blocked off hotel buys for all the different cities.
Yeah, probably.
Like I'm trying to little detail stuff's left, sure, but most of the planning's done. It's got to be done by now. I'm trying to do a tiny.
Well, like I said, I think he just got brought in like a month or 2 ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but if he's the head of unless he's going to change a bunch of shit, it's already done. He's just going to go along for the ride and get the credit.
Yeah.
I would think an event of that size. I mean, when do they what last year they picked the 2034 host setup, right? We already know the 2030.
I think they have I think it's something about Saudi Arabia got one of the ones here in the next 20 years or so.
According to the AI that obviously sucks from the Mary Jacobs thing. Monaco and Portugal and Spain. Ooh, that's fun. I like that. 2034 World Cup is in Saudi.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
2038 World Cup.
Not decided.
U.S. could partner with New Zealand and Fiji to host the 2038 World Cup.
What? They can have like Hawaii or something?
That's crazy.
That would be fun. I think ours is already pretty damn spread out.
Yeah. Football verse on the FIFA World Cup.
I'd say it might be one of the most spread out of the World Cups that I'm familiar with. And yeah, Japan and South Korea, that was a decent distance between the two when they co-hosted.
Yeah, that's for sure. Crazy. I think Canada, U.S., and Mexico is crazy as far as the expanse of it.
Just distance-wise?
Yeah. I mean, so, what are the host cities in Mexico? Mexico City, obviously.
I'm not sure.
I think
they've got at least 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'll bet you Mexico is... Oh, look at that. Pretty success. Where is Mexico playing? No, not that. Mexico City to host opening match. Host countries and cities. FIFA.com. I guess I'm going to take your goddamn cookies. Guadalajara, Mexico City, and Monterrey. And we've got New York to L.A. So just in the United States, we have Seattle, Miami. So the in all of professional sports, the longest travel of any professional sport is any Seattle team going to Miami or any Miami team going to Seattle. So we have that. We have New York to L.A. You've got Boston, Dallas, San Francisco, Kansas City, Houston. I thought Nashville was hosting.
I think they were in the running, but I guess they didn't get picked.
And then Toronto and Vancouver. And so Vancouver is essentially Seattle. Toronto is Detroit. And so, I mean, that's L.A. So I guess my point, I suppose, is L.A. Miami to Seattle, I would guess, is further than any distance in any part of South Korea and Japan.
Probably, yeah.
The furthest south of Japan you can go to the furthest north in South Korea you can go is a shorter distance than Miami to Seattle. So now we're going to have Miami to Vancouver, which is just a little bit past Seattle, but it's past Seattle, obviously, because it's,
different country.
Past it.
Yeah.
And then, the north-south stretch will be, where's Monterey? Monterey's west coast, I think.
Couldn't tell you. It sounds about right.
I don't know where Guadalajara is, but so Monterey to New York, Monterey to Toronto. It was probably further apart than anywhere in South Korea and Japan either. Like I find this one kind of ridiculous in its scale. Like Germany's awesome. France is awesome. UK is awesome. Like the idea that you could like because they have fucking mass transit, you can get places very easy there. Like the idea that you could go to a game in one host city and go to a game the next day in another host city and it not be ridiculous. Like you have some red-eye flight or something crazy. Like you could go to a Munich game, get out of that game, go to the hotel, party because your team won that night, go to the hotel, get up in the morning, get on a train, get to Berlin, and be at Berlin by midday.
Yeah,
you know, and catch an afternoon game of some different teams because your teams don't play twice in a row because it's soccer. And this website's a little bit lacking for such a huge event. Like it feels a little bit. I'm just hating on websites.
The website critic.
Yeah, it just feels a little like I feel like I could build this one, and I suck at building websites. But like I just kind of, I don't know. Like it should be like you should be able to go and without having to spend $1 million on plane tickets, maybe not even go to multiple games, but at least go and be around multiple game sites.
I was about to say, if you're in one site, you can probably catch, if you wanted to spend the money, 3 or 4 games.
Right, but like it'd be cool to go to Atlanta, like if it's here, or for the portion that's here. Like if you lived in the Northeast, to go to a game in it's MetLife, I'm assuming in New York. Go to a game in MetLife Stadium, and then cruise up to Boston because there is a train that'll do that one, and maybe not go to a game that's at the Boston.
Is Philadelphia another city?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Go to a game in Boston. Maybe not go to the game, but go hang out around the game. It's fun to be in a major city, or it's fun to be in a town where a major sporting event is happening and be near it.
Yeah,
like it's fun to just be there. Like just hang out in some bar in Boston that's not far from whatever stadium they're playing this game at. That would be fun to be at. You don't have to spend the money on the tickets to go to the game proper, but you're still gonna have a good time. And it's even if it's not even a couple of teams that you particularly care about, you can still have a good time with that. And then get on a train again and go see a game in Philly or go be near a game in Philly while it's going on. Like, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense that you have to fucking pay probably $5,000 to fly from New York to L.A. and then L.A. to Seattle and then Seattle to Miami to get to experience some of the different World Cup sites. I think I like having the World Cup here. I want to have the World Cup in the United States. But even then, like when the U.S. hosts an Olympics, it's not the U.S. hosting the Olympics. It's usually a city or a region.
Yeah.
It's like Atlanta hosted the Olympics. 95% of the things that were going on in that Olympics happened in Atlanta proper. Like, that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least if you're going to do it in the United States, do it as a region. Do it as the Southeast. Do it in the SEC conference range. You've got the venues for it. I mean, you absolutely have more than enough venues between Charlotte. Hell, you go Charlotte, you go to Clemson, you can go to Atlanta, you could do a game in Athens. Athens as a city would have a hard time handling it, but where the Bulldogs play, you can handle it. Like
they have high capacity.
That's a 80 fucking something thousand seat stadium. I mean, that's just it.
Just know they got hedges.
Well, that's the crazy thing is that like they're all. I guarantee you, all of these sites that the World Cup plays on are football stadiums, and they're going to be pro stadiums. Where, if Nashville had hosted, that Nashville soccer stadium that they just built is going to be smaller. Is even the Titan Stadium is significantly smaller than Neyland.
Was it Giada's Park or something?
You want to host it? You want to host a big crowd soccer game? Put it in Neyland Stadium.
Well,
Put a World Cup game in Neyland Stadium. 100,000 people at a World Cup game. That'd be fucking crazy.
Nashville got at least 1 or 2 Club World Cup is going on this summer. They've got a couple of those games.
I just I don't like. Again, I just think it's kind of ridiculous to have it that spread out. That's just the kind of point.
Some of our major cities.
Yes, and then some other countries' major cities as well.
Because, like you said, you also have to have the infrastructure around it to kind of accommodate everyone coming in.
But I mean, and again, but I think too, like apparently, like you like to complain about our baseball stadium thing. Apparently, like FIFA host nations do not make a lot of money off of these things.
Yeah, Olympics are the same way. I think most Olympic host cities lose money on having it there.
And so maybe that was the shtick that was going on here. It said like Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. got together and said, we really want to host this because it'd be fun to host it. But we'll lose, like the U.S., since they have more cities, says we'll lose half. of the total loss. Like the whole thing is going to lose, $20 billion. We'll eat $10 billion of that. You guys eat 5. You guys eat 5, and we'll all play it together. Maybe that was the arrangement. I mean, I'm excited to have it in the Western Hemisphere so that we can have it at reasonable times and watch games at normal times.
That's true.
That I'm excited about. But
I mean, it was Germany. It wasn't too bad. Got to start like some early day drinking.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, Europe. What's in Europe, it's not too bad because you get to the
I think the first game came on at like 10:30.
Yeah, the Asian stuff's rough.
Yeah, I remember watching a couple games.
The Asian stuff's literally just backwards. So like it's 8 a.m.
Yeah.
The late game is 8 a.m. So I mean, like Premier League is the same way as like the NFL is. They do like a noon, a 4, and an 8 o'clock time window on game days, and so you shift that over to like China or Japan or whatever. It's like first game starts at midnight, and so if you want to watch the whole day's worth of games, the 3 time blocks of games, you start at midnight and you end at noon the next day.
I want to say for the South Korea Japan one, I think I remember getting up at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning to catch like the first game of the day or something.
Yeah, it's just on the wrong side of the clock. It's okay. It's not their fault. It's our fault, or it's their fault. Who cares? But I mean, I like when I went out to Hawaii, when my brother was living out there. They canceled the rest of the fucking festival. I thought they just shut the night down. Oh
no, yeah, sorry, I was saying like Bonnaroo got canceled.
My bad, bro.
I guess they were looking at weather, I guess, for the whole weekend and decided just go ahead and call it off versus having people stuck in the mud and couldn't get out of there.
Damn, that sucks. I gotta reach out to some peeps. All right, so I did it. I reached out to my peeps.
Y'all get out of there.
That sucks. I hate that for me.
Go get in the long line of everyone trying to exit at the same time.
Due to storms and safety. All right, breaking news from Channel 10. Bonnaroo cancels remainder of festival. I didn't catch that when you said it earlier. I apologize. Quote, we have put our hearts and souls into making this weekend the most special one of the year and cannot express how crushed we are to have to make this decision. Manchester, Tennessee, Bonnaroo canceled the remainder of the popular Tennessee Music and Arts Festival due to continued severe weather forecasts. Less than half of the 4-day festival got off the ground after waves of storm caused delays on Friday. By 8:30, the festival said the National Weather Service updated forecast made it clear the festival could not continue into the weekend safely. Again, quote, we are beyond gutted, but we must make the safest decision and cancel the remainder of Bonnaroo. We are going to make things right with you. The number one thing we want from the Bonnaroo community is patience. Bonnaroo said all one-day admissions and parking tickets purchased at the front gate for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be refunded. All 4-day tickets purchased will get 75% of their money back. Refunds will be processed within 30 days. God, I want to know what their weather insurance policy is. I'll bet
I'm sure they've got one because I think they ran into storms.
Yeah,
I think they canceled it like a week or two out, but they canceled it. I think they had a bunch of like flooding that was going on, and they're like, "It's going to be a mud field. We just need to call it now." And that was like maybe like a week or two out.
I bet you that's a fun. Like, I bet you it's not. I bet you that's a fucking headache. Because I guarantee your Hosier's getting paid. Insane Clown Posse they played last night, so they got paid already. Anyway, not Insane. Was it Insane Clown Posse they played last night?
I don't know.
Anybody that played yesterday, they're fine. Nothing really changed for them. But all the acts that were scheduled for today, the rest of the night, tomorrow, and whatever, they're going to get paid something.
Probably.
They've been accommodated. They didn't pay for their hotels. They're not paying for transportation to and from their hotel. They probably got flown here from wherever they were supposed to be.
I feel bad for the staff because they get there like in the past few years they've been getting there like good 2 months in advance to start setting this shit up.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's kind of neat though. Like I've decided that's one of my favorite little like rabbit holes to fall down into. Like I was watching a video earlier today and it's a full size truck. That's basically a dump truck, except it's a box, and you open the box up, and the dump action happens, and it's a speaker stack, and so it's literally a trailer that rolls up, next to where the stage is going to get built does its little action, and now it has a speaker stand. Another truck that has the same thing goes and does the other side, and then they build the stage in between and the scaffolding and do all the shit. And so instead of like trying to build the stack every time for every place they go to, they just, and then there's the Barclays Center in New York in the basement. So there's like, you drive down, like you could drive a full-size semi-truck into the basement of this place, and there's a fucking turntable for semi-trucks that will turn the truck, and then there's 2 elevators that are semi-truck size elevators, and you drive the semi-truck into the elevator, and it'll go up to the floor level, and you can go in there and drop stuff off.
Damn.
And then get back into this elevator, come back down, put you on the turntable, turns you all sorts of different ways. Like it's a fucking 70-foot turntable. I was watching a video of him do it. It was super cool to watch. Like it's just fun.
Yeah, one of the Bass Classics that I went to, it was like Abu Garcia. I think they make like reels or something. But it was almost like a giant aquarium that was all like the size of like a tractor trailer that was like pulled out onto like the main floor. They had a bunch of like fish and stuff into it.
I mean, yeah, you can drive a semi-truck.
I was like, that's a giant, just fucking like aquarium that's just out there on like the main floor.
Yeah, you can drive a semi-truck onto Thompson's floor.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand the reason, like in the design phase of that part of those kind of buildings to do that, but it's still like a fucking turntable.
Yeah.
like on there, and it's like, it's like this time lapse video, and these guys are standing on it, and the truck pulls on it, and it turns, and the truck pulls into an elevator. And it's kind of cool because like the truck would pull in the elevator, and like the turn didn't quite get there, or like when they turned it, it wasn't square with the elevator, and so the truck would pull in about halfway, and then they'd turn the turntable a little bit more to get the trailer straight behind the truck, and then he'd pull the rest of the way in.
Damn.
It's like that's fucking cool action.
And the union's got to do a lot of that shit too.
Yeah, Teamsters are up there, the Bob, all those people are getting paid. Everybody's nickels and dimes over and over again. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a good bummer. I think it was a story a few days ago. It was like one of the original founders passed away recently. They were going to plant a tree on site to commemorate.
No, that's a bummer, and also cool. I'm trying to think what I'm missing. Have you caught any of the finals?
No.
It's on.
Watch the highlights.
HBO Max TNT games. If it's a TNT game, I've watched. I've watched a little bit. I watched like 3 minutes of one game.
Highlights are good for the game last night.
Last night went in overtime, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they play again tomorrow.
They do. They're on tomorrow on the HBO Max app that I have, at least.
Yeah.
That's what the app said. Well, I was pulling it up, or I tried to pull it up earlier, and I was like, shit, it's tomorrow. I was hoping it's tonight. We just have it on the background. Well, it's a background action for us.
Oilers were down 3-0 last night, and came back to tie it up. Almost won it. I think it was like 20 seconds before the end of the third period that Florida tied it up to send it to overtime.
Yep. I did. It was like the headline from ESPN was like a disgusting goal. I think is what they called it, to send it into overtime. Disgusting.
Let's see, it was a tight angle.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else I'm missing. We touched on all sorts of things. City council races are coming to. Jeff Tallman got the permission to run.
I don't think I saw anything else
I'm
crazy
angry,
local.
I'm angry about websites. Apparently, I just hate on websites right now. County commissions, big action. I mean, the other big one county commissions got. It's not county commission, but county government's got is this zoning thing. And like this new zoning, like the new company they brought in to advise the process or whatever, is going to have to move quick if they want to try to get the timeline they're planning on. Like they've got to be done. They've got less than a year to finish it. They've got to have it wrapped up in a pretty box, a bajillion public hearings on it, and wrapped up in a pretty box for commission to vote on by June of next year, or it will not pass before they want to get it done and in place before this body starts dissipating because of elections. So they want the goal is to get it done before Jacobs is out of office, and then before all the different commissioners that are either getting reelected or termed out and going from there. I did hear this week that I heard prior that Gwen McKenzie has floated the idea of running for mayor. That's a little bit. I heard this week that it's a little bit more stern of a intent to run for mayor. Tommy Smith is also on the list, as well as Andrew Roberto. So 3 current city councilors are at least openly discussing the ideas of running for. Except for Lauren, who's the one I want to run. I need Lauren to run. Lauren, you're running for mayor.
I'm going to write you in regardless.
White guys don't win in the city of Knoxville, so we're going to end up with Gwen McKenzie, which I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about Gwen McKenzie. I haven't talked to her in a while. She's got a little bit of that Halle Berry thing, which I ain't mad at, but that's not to say anything about her policy. She's an attractive lady. That's all I was trying to say. I don't know. What else you got? Give me some.
Did see a disc golfer got hurt and had to get rescued by Rural Metro, I think earlier this week.
I think I did see that too, yeah.
I don't see how. I guess it was one of the last holes. He got injured but wasn't able to make it off. Apparently there's nothing serious, but I guess he wasn't able to walk off the course. So Rural Metro had to come with, I forget what they called it, but there's a name for a stretcher that has one wheel on it, so they were able to kind of wheel him out.
What course was it?
Tommy Shumpert.
Yeah, that one's rough.
Yeah.
That one's back in the woods. That's just a good woods hike.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I can see that. I mean, there's a couple of spots on the one out at off North Shore that kind of gets back in there. A lot of it's pretty accessible, but there's a couple of holes that get back down in the woods.
It's easy to just twist an ankle.
Yeah.
You're fuck, I can't walk anymore.
Yeah, but that's how half the thing is that it's active people. It's yes, you are fucked, but there's nobody else that could help you.
I mean, for the most part, it's kind of low impact, and there are some courses where you're walking up and down hills for a little while, but
I would say you roll an ankle or something like that.
You're not jogging from hole to hole or anything like that.
I don't know. I feel like there's enough traffic on them that if you were to slip and fall, that just somebody kind of come by oh shit, man, you okay? No, that you could throw your arm around the shoulder and kind of three-legged out of there.
Could have been the end of the day. Who knows? Can't remember what time it said they had to go out there.
Way to go, Rural Metro, you cucks. Sorry, I got my own issues with Rural Metro. It has nothing to do with this. I'm happy that you helped this guy out of the fucking woods. Don't get me wrong. And like I said, Tommy Schubert's that one's all woods.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I've done some of their walking trails and stuff like that, and I don't remember what I did there.
Let's be able to take them there. They got dog park there as well, and some baseball fields.
Yeah, and then they had soccer fields there as well, and they've got a nice walking trail, and then that walking trail goes into the woods a little bit. But I'm trying to remember the rifle range is out there. That was a weird one. I went out there and just walked one morning, like when I was better about it. I need to get back to it. I was just walking, and it was 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. And they had some sort of event going on over there at Rifle Range, which is not far away.
Yeah.
And I was just walking, just guns, just people shooting over at the Rifle Range.
I think it's one of the only in the area that has distance for long guns. It may be one of the few outdoor ranges in the area.
No, we used to go shoot at the Elks Lodge, which is not that far from there.
I guess a public one.
Yeah, we need to go. Let's go. When are we going to go? I just want to go shoot some guns. I had a good time.
It's supposed to be a nice one. I think they just built a newer one up in Morristown. It's supposed to be pretty big, pretty nice.
I mean, I don't care. I just want to go shoot.
Yeah.
I just want to go and I haven't fired my rifle in 2 years since I shot Susan. I gave it a good bath, oiled her up, and put her into storage.
That's only the last time I shot my rifle.
You shoot my pistol, too. I shot my pistol in about a year. I need to go buy some fucking ammo for that thing, too.
Get you some real ammo.
I do.
Lots of target.
I need to get some man killers. Mostly, I need to get some stops in the walls, is what I need.
Yeah.
Which also is a man killer, but same thing. Because those target rounds will go straight through these fucking walls in this house.
I think they would have less projectile range, but I don't know.
No, I mean the thing is the hollow points, they just deform and they stop,
expand or whatever.
Yeah. The point of it, the point of a hollow point is to not go through anything. It's to enter and stop, and get all weirdly shapen and just tear as much stuff up inside whatever it is as possible.
Forget the word they call for it.
Deformation.
Maybe. Yeah.
We still haven't found any of those bullets. Speaking of, I'm not sure what that guy shot at us. Still haven't found any of the bullets that guy shot at us. I still don't know if KPD picked it up.
They probably ricocheted all sorts of places. Yeah, they could have picked it up as evidence. Who knows?
Yeah. I know where one is, and I don't think KPD picked it up. So you got these coffee bags. Like there's big, coffee bags. Like actual coffee bags, not like you pick up at the grocery store, like the big 50-pound.
Yeah, burlap bags.
Yeah, burlap bags. And it's a decor thing, and we fill them up with like packing peanuts and bubble wrap and shit like that. We just fill them up so they seem full, and put them in different places just as decor. And there's definitely one that you can see the hole that goes into it. There's no hole on the other side, but it's also in a hard spot to get to, and so I haven't pulled it down yet to pull it out. And there's no way KPD did. So it's in there. Yeah. I know it's in there. I just haven't taken it down yet.
Possibly. You don't think it went through it at all?
There's no hole in the other side of the bag.
It's packing peanuts and deformed.
I mean, well, it already went through glass.
That's true, yeah.
And some wood, and then went into the bag. And so by that point, it's pretty slow, probably.
Yeah.
All things considered. So
it could go through some mesh burlap.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not hard to get through the burlap, but all that plastic and stuff that's packing the bubble wrap and shit like that, that would really stop it.
Polystyrene.
If it's already going slow and it's out of shape, especially when it's unshapen, like when it had a point to it, it might push through some bubble wrap pretty easily, but all out of shape, it's going to be like, slow down.
Tumbling.
All right, well, let's get weird. I think we're got that track a little loud. Get it.
Oh, let's see here. White shirts, black ties, bald caps. Pit bulls fans party like clones worldwide. Oh, sounds kind of weird. Londoners have reported thousands of sightings of pit bull this week. With that bald head, goatee, and suit, he's pretty hard to miss. On closer inspection, though, it becomes clear that Mr. Worldwide is not actually everywhere all at once. In his stead, those are clones swarming London on their way to the O2 Arena to see him on stage. That goatee, drawn on. That bare head, bald caps, in lieu of a dramatic shave.
So it is customary to go to Pitbull shows in Pitbull cosplay.
That I couldn't tell you.
I mean, that's what it seems like. I mean,
well, fans can decide that shit on their own.
Yes, that's why it's customary, and it's not a rule. It's not a requirement.
I wouldn't quite call it customary until it's a normalized thing. That this could be something new. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it seems like I don't know. Why? Weird.
It's definitely planned, but it could have been some weird, like, head of the fan club that organized this like a month ago or something.
We're going as Pitbull to Pitbull.
There's a lot of people that do that. I'm sure a lot of people that go to Kiss concerts, put on, like, Kiss-style face paint.
That's fair. But yeah, but Kiss is in costume to do their thing. Like, Pitbull's not a costume, it's the man. I mean, it's probably a costume at some level to him as a human being, to be fair. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say I couldn't pick, if I heard one of his songs, I couldn't say that was his song.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. There's a Macklemore song that I would have swore was a Pitbull song. He got robbed this week. That was a weird story.
Who did?
Macklemore. His house got burgled.
Burgled?
Yeah. There's been a string of celebrity burglaries over the last couple of years. A couple of football players.
Yeah, I saw there was a trial in France, I think, for like Kim Kardashian of somebody that stole some of her jewelry at some point.
Yeah.
But I think that was from like 2 years ago.
But like, it's interesting that, like, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, there was a fat string during football season, which kind of has some logic to it. Like, it's not unsmart. Like, well, Kansas City's playing in Nashville this weekend.
I have heard about some sports stars. That people have figured out. They're like, oh, they're out of town. Or a lot of sports stars have 2 or 3 homes anyway.
Right.
Big name sports stars.
Right, but it's like, you know who's not in Kansas City this weekend? Pat Mahomes. Let's go see what's going on at his house. Which I got tickets. Me and the eldest are going to go to Kansas City at Nashville this year. Hope to see Taylor Swift. Actually, I really hope to see Blake Lively. That'd make my day.
Oh, there was a story that Taylor Swift and her hubby were in town like a week or so ago for, it was like one of their cousins' wedding. I think.
Yeah, in Knoxville. Yeah,
yeah.
Not her hubby, her boyfriend. They're not married.
Okay. That's right. They were talking about. I guess there was it the last Super Bowl? There was rumor that maybe he would propose to her, like out there in the 50-yard line or something.
I mean, absolutely, there was rumor of where that rumor started and what founded that rumor. Is a whole another set of shit. But, yeah, I'm curious who in Knoxville has.
I thought somebody told me it was like one of their cousins, but
So it's a family thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because where's she from? Like, I know she moved to Nashville when she was like 17 or something like that to become a star. I want to say she's from like fucking Oklahoma or something like
that. Couldn't tell you.
All right, internet. Let's follow down this rabbit hole. I'm curious now.
My guess is maybe they had it up at like Blackberry to have some kind of high-end wedding.
She's from Pennsylvania. She was born in West Reading, Pennsylvania, and spent her early years in the area, including on a Christmas tree farm, where she later moved to Tennessee to pursue her music career. But yeah, unless they break up, she gonna be at that Titans game in Nashville. There's no effing way she ain't gonna be.
No, she may be on tour at the time.
They delayed a soccer game for the rain? Oh, lightning. Okay, fine. I need to do that. I need to get to. I do want to get to a Knox 1 game sometime this summer. FC Knox. What do they call it? 1 FC.
1 FC. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get to one of their games this summer. Oh, I was just randomly watching local news. Apparently, in June every year, there is it's the Tennessee Law Enforcement Vehicle Best Cruiser Contest. That's a thing that you can go on. I guess it's WWIII or WWIII or whoever does host it. And you go to WWIII and you can place your vote for which law enforcement agency in the region has the best cruiser.
What are the parameters?
Fuck, I don't know.
Most comfortable back seats.
Each department sends a photo of of a cruiser.
Huh.
Which
most of them are pretty similar. I mean, there are a lot of Chryslers now. Some Fords.
Yeah, there's a lot of Fords. Like a lot of them have escorts and shit like that. Or not escorts. The new
Charger.
The Charger is the car. What's the SUV one?
Oh, Explorer.
There you go. WWIII. Which Tennessee law enforcement agency has the best looking cruiser? Residents can vote until Wednesday, August 3rd.
I guess it probably goes off like paint scheme and everything too, maybe.
So the Tennessee Highway Safety Office is taking your votes for the best looking cruiser in Tennessee.
They should all done like their ghost vehicles. Which one looks the best? Which one has the best paint?
Fucking asshole.
Which one has the least readable?
If you want to, I don't know if I've ranted at you about it or not. I hate that.
I think it was in Virginia. I saw a state trooper that actually had that kind of like ghosted decal.
I think I like that one. I like this one. I don't feel weird about my libertarianism and saying that should be illegal. That should not be. That is not fucking okay. Like it's not. Like I respect the idea of an unmarked when you have a detective or somebody who is not in that capacity as an officer having an unmarked car. I respect that. But these ghost cruisers are fucking bullshit. Like, I'm trying to think of it. Like, what was it? I can't remember who was talking about it. It might have been Ricky Gervais. He's like, it's so weird to me when you go to the States and you see their police cars, like, hiding in the bushes to catch you. where our police cars are like, hey, look at us. We're here if you need us.
Yellow checkered. And
right.
I think most of them even wear like those like neon green or neon yellow.
Safety yellow. Yeah. They have like a safety yellow vest, stuff like that. It's like, hey, I am here. Do you need anything from me?
Yeah.
That is the way law enforcement works in Europe, where ours are just like, yeah, you don't pay attention to us unless you need to. Yeah, they all look the same. I don't know, that the picture setup from the Hamilton County one looks pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe it's who can take the best picture.
Yeah, the Hamilton County one's not bad either in the picture setup. I don't know. Obion? I didn't know there was an Obion County. What is Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy? They get to play? That's messed up.
Hopefully they get their own cars.
I mean, they do. Look at them. Taletta. Woodbury. I'm sorry, Woodbury. You lose. You lose full stop. That just looks like Gomer Pyle just did a little sticker on the side.
Probably even CGI.
Yeah, that doesn't even look like it's actually a vehicle. It looks like you did some work in the on the Photoshop for that one. So, all right, get weird one more time for us. Come on.
Yeah, it wasn't really not the good one.
Come on. Accidental button slip hit the phrase right, so that came out okay.
Got a not-so-hot pursuit. Burglary suspect sees police chase tractor excavator at walking pace. This happened in South Carolina.
So they were chasing a backhoe? Is that what I'm hearing?
They chased a tractor excavator. I don't think there's any... Well, there's a video. But at the speed of an average adult walks. The chase reached speeds of 3 miles per hour early Sunday morning in North Charleston.
Oh, yeah. I'll be there in a couple weeks. See if I find that man. Shake his hand. Don't go easy. Don't go quietly into that good night.
Yeah.
Fight the power.
Let's see here. Chase went on for an hour and 12 minutes before the excavator drove onto the fairgrounds property where it got stuck. Driver tried to run, but was followed by a drone until a police dog and handler caught up.
I mean, you're not pulling the pit maneuver on a tractor. That ain't happening.
No.
You're just going to beat up your cruiser.
Yeah.
So, I suppose it does make sense. You're not going to do, like, I mean,
spike strips aren't going to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, you can try to pull out in front of them and block them. Pretty sure it'll just keep going. Like, it might run you over or push you out of the way, but I don't think a regular police car would. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what kind of tractor it is, but most tractors, like the torque on most tractors, is like obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like they're built to drag steel through the dirt.
Well, said he got stuck on the fairgrounds. I don't know if it was just super muddy.
Yeah.
Hit a ditch and couldn't get out.
Yeah, perhaps. Well, I'm glad you're back in town, buddy. Happy belated, by the way.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday to our good friend Sam. I kind of made a joke in exiting last week's show that you were out of town for no good reason. Do you want to talk about the reason you're out of town? We did see a good mortar board.
Motorboard?
Mortar board? That is what they call the hats that the kids wear at graduations?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I'll tell you for it. Everybody, Sam was at a family graduation last week. That's why he wasn't here. That's why we did the show remotely. But it's called a mortar board.
Mortar board.
Yes. I don't know why. I don't know.
It was cool. It was hot. They did it early in the morning.
Isn't it? Yeah, get it done before it's
didn't
too
mind
hot.
it till the. Apparently, they had some event going on that night. It's a place where they do plays, so they couldn't cancel that. Or I guess they had to make sure they had everybody was out and gone, so they could start setting up for the play that night. It was a little outdoor amphitheater.
Well, that's cool. That's fun. That's what we did. We needed a good amphitheater in Knoxville. I'm on it. That's my some other shit too. Got to talk somebody with multi-million-dollar worth property just to be like, hey, can I just build some seats into the hill?
We got enough hills in the area.
And put a fence around it? And
Lakeshore put a little tiny one in, but it's not really much of an amphitheater.
Build a stage and some bathrooms, and we can rock this bitch.
Rock this bitch.
Anyway, it's a show, people. Almost Agreement does another show. We do our shows every week, even when some of us are out of town. Almost Agreement does another show. You like how I mixed tempos there? That was nice, right? Anyway, Almost Agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Check out what we're going on there. Go to your favorite podcast provider. Like, friend, share, follow, text us to your friends. Subscribe to the show. Do those things. Help us out. I'm going to start reaching out this week. I try to start scheduling. I have decided I will do interviews, but I'm not going to try to bring people to the house. I'm just going to do them over Zoom or something like that. It's just easier, and I'm lazy, and I'm going to lean into my laziness. Almost Agreement people, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. County didn't submit cars to the coolest looking cruisers.